Hello, hello. I'm gonna check and make sure that we're actually streaming and this is working this time. So let's see. What's going on? Hmm. All right, let's see. Oh, all right, it does say I'm live. Yeah, okay. Yay, thank you. I just saw your text. I think that's, oh, that's Karen. Thank you. Okay, I'm using a new platform to do this, to manage the live, and now I see that there's somebody in there. Yay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's see. I'm looking to see if I can... Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Now I just want to make sure I can see your comments. I'm not sure that I can. So let's see. And we'll give this... all right, Diane says she can't find us. All right, let's see. Give me just a second, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, now let me see if I can see your comments. I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to be a little bit of guinea pigs with me here. I don't know how else to do this. Okay, now, okay. I don't, let's see. Aha, now I can see comments. All right, awesome. Diane's on, cool, cool. All right. Whoops, oh, I just lost it. All right. Well, it's just the three of us, but we can go ahead and get started if you want to. Or we can wait a little bit longer, whatever you guys want to do. don't know how much of a delay there is between the live and here and YouTube. This is kind of strange for me. So I'm seeing two different things. Well, maybe we should just get started. I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any other. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Maybe that's what that was. All right. I'm just making sure I've got the chat going, you guys. I'm sorry. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for being patient. Oh, we got somebody else in here too. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Oh, we got another person. Fantastic. Thank you guys for being patient. I really appreciate it. I'll work on my technology skills so that we won't have to do this every time I go live. But hey, at least this time I've got video and it's working. So the last couple times we had some major problems. I appreciate you guys being here so much. So much. So I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions if you want to, if you feel like sharing in the chat. Are you guys feeling this weightlessness, the zero gravity of being rather ungrounded? Or noticing any differences in your energetic body? Okay, I don't see any. I think there must be a delay between what I'm streaming and what's actually on YouTube. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I don't want to leave you guys hanging if there isn't a delay and you're just sitting here watching me, waiting to see if you chime in with your experience. So, oh, I'm frozen. It seems to be working on this side, as far as I can tell. Let's see. Okay, that must be. Oh, wait a minute. All right, sorry guys, just making sure everything's working here. Alrighty. All right, guys. Sorry for the delay. All right, we're gonna get officially started here. Okay, Yay, good. I'm glad Diane's back. All right, cool. And we're having some thunderstorms in the area here too, so hopefully that won't interfere with anything. But that could have been why it was showing up as frozen for her too. So in talking about, I'm assuming that all of you guys saw the blog post about the weightlessness of Ascension and how we have this period or this segment of space-time, as my guides like to say, coming up in July. Yeah, they did say July. And although I have a feeling that some of you, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, I have a feeling that some of you are going to be experiencing this maybe now or, well, now I'm getting specifically around the Cancer new moon at the end of the month. When is that? The 25th, 26th? So you may notice that this really kicks off then. But we're going to see more people experiencing this, and people that have been on the Ascension journey already and then reaching this new level of their expansion, the expansion of the energetic field. And this is part of this process of really letting go of any reliance on external forces. So an interesting thing that came through that we'll talk about a little bit here is that part of this has to do with the separation that we're also seeing between the 3D and the 5D. And as we're moving towards the 5D frequencies and the lower density that goes with that, it's actually removing us from the matrix of the 3D, which does serve as a structure of not only inhibiting expansion to some degree, but also anchoring us. And so part of, I keep getting these visual images of just expanding beyond it. It's no longer able to hold us. And that's an amazing thing, right? It's no longer able to restrain us. It's no longer able to inhibit us. At the same time, it's no longer able to assist us in staying grounded. So part of this is a redefining of your relationship to the forces that connect you to Mother Earth and the forces that keep you grounded with Mother Earth. So I also want to tell you guys I have a bit of an outline here of things I want to talk about. I want to share with you guys. I'm putting that into PDF form as well. So I will, I meant to put it in the description. I will put it in the description of the video, or I'll drop the link to that in the chat before we end here. And I'll put it in the description once this goes as a replay on the channel as well. So it's a free PDF to download. I'll email it to you. Just have to send me your email, but I've got a little form set up on the website for it. And that way you don't necessarily have to take notes, but it's something you can refer back to when July comes around, or whenever you start to notice these things, or even at other times. Okay. So this is truly requiring us to recalibrate to a new baseline of being grounded. Because of the expansion that we're experiencing, it's expanding and stretching our energetic field. And so we talked about in the last video how that is impacting the out-of-body chakras, like the Earth Star Chakra, the Soul Star Chakra, the Galactic Gateway Chakra, and how, because our energetic body is stretching through this expansion that's occurring and through the changes in our DNA and how much light we're emitting and holding, and it's actually stretching out the distance of those chakras from our physical body. And so that plays into why we're ungrounded as well, or can be ungrounded, or have a propensity to be ungrounded, because there is this sense of weightlessness that comes with it. We're moving beyond these, it's strange to say, but we're moving beyond these forces that we've become so accustomed to living within. And so a part of this is redefining and recalibrating our relationship to them. And I know this is going to going to sound really out there in some ways, but this is the experience I've been having. And I know some of you guys have mentioned that you're starting to experience it as well. And so being able to talk about it here, I think, is important for all of us that are going through it, but it's also important for those of us that work in whatever way. I mean, those of us that are light workers and healers of some sort, or way showers. I'm kind of feeling like none of these labels really apply. We need to come up with a term for for those of us that are already on this path. I think way shower is a good term for it. But anyway, for those of us that are on this path, right, and who, whether we intentionally go out to assist people and their own ascension journeys, or whether it is our presence and the energy that we are sharing with people around us, with the collective around us. So having this information is going to help us in assisting others too. I went all the way around it to get back to the point. So we talked about the energetic, or the chakras, moving a little bit farther away from our physical body. It really requires us to be still and consciously connect into the body, the sensations and the signals that our body is sending us, even deeper than we have previously. It was interesting in discussing all of this and feeling into this with my guides, that I was reminded of how often they have said over the last year in particular, be in your body. And Diane knows how much I worked on this, and she's been such a huge help for me in this. And hey, Melissa, hello. I'm glad you're here. Yay. So, yeah, how many times that theme has come up about being in your body and really connecting to your body and being still in it, and learning how to converse with it, right? Learning its language. And now we're understanding really why this is so important. I mean, we've talked about the physical changes that we've undergone, but now, we talked about those, but oftentimes they seemed kind of, I don't know what the word is, not tangible, right? Intangible. There we go. There's the word. Oftentimes they seem kind of intangible, and like we were speaking of things that were happening outside of our physical bodies, even though we spoke about them happening. It wasn't something that we could necessarily see or even feel with some certainty, let's say it that way. But now we're having these experiences that really are, we can feel, that are impacting our physical bodies and our reality here that we're existing in right now, on a bigger level maybe than they were previously. So that ties into one of the things is working on being still and focused, and this, with feeling this sense of ungroundedness, that can become very, very difficult. That's been one of the most difficult things for me. And then the other part of this is that recognizing that another key sign, let's say, of being ungrounded and going through this process is that we may find that we have a propensity to yearn for or to seek the euphoria of higher frequencies, over a grounded experience, over being in the body. I think I think that's something that, generally speaking, we need to be very aware of that. We need to be aware of, as we are moving into these higher frequencies and we're experiencing them more and more and more and more, because there is a sense of it being separate from the 3D, which it is. And oftentimes we want so much to be in the new earth that means we want to move away from the 3D, right? However, there's a bit of a warning there that we have to stay in our physical bodies, and to move into the 5D experience without it being integrated with the physical body, even if it's still within the 3D. And this is where it gets really tricky, of having like 1 foot in each density, or each kind of vibrational layer. And I know many of us are like walking this strange plank balance between those two. But if we try to just skip ahead and just ignore like the physical aspect of this, we're going to run into difficulty later on. And it's not for us to ignore our physical body, or to try and ascend beyond it. That's not going to happen. That's not the way this works. The way this works is we ascend within the physical body. We're here to be human. We have heritage from the stars, but we're here to be human. So some new-ish or returning ascension symptoms that you may notice that kind of go along with this phase that is associated with the weightlessness would be ear popping, which is interesting because, that happens when you actually elevate and raise your elevation, like if you're going in an airplane or something. So we've got that airplane analogy twice here, because that came through in the channeled message about the weightlessness, right? The zero gravity of like when you're in an airplane and they kind of nose over a little bit and you feel like you lift up in your seat. Same thing with the elevation changes, right? And it happens in my left ear. I keep pointing to it. But you may notice ear popping. I'll give the disclaimer, of course, that I am not a medical professional. So y'all know, if I just kind of have to say that if you have medical issues, please seek assistance as you feel is necessary. However, headaches is another one. I haven't had headaches in quite some time, and especially over the last week or so, I've noticed headaches, and they're coinciding with other energetic experiences. And so again, using my intuition and my discernment, I can say this has to do with the energetics right now, not like a sinus headache. You know what I mean? It also speaks back to understanding the conversation with your body. When you really know your body that well and that deeply, and can have that clear communication with it, it helps you to discern, is this a biological process that I need to be aware of, or is this my body's response to the energetic changes and shifts? Food cravings was a really interesting one. And it took me a minute to figure this out for myself. I've had a lot of cravings for chocolate, which, that kind of goes with the territory too. I mean, I love chocolate, but I realized that it was occurring when I was feeling really ungrounded, and chocolate is a great way to ground yourself quickly, especially dark chocolate, and that's what I was craving. So paying attention to your body, the food cravings that you're having too. I mean, food cravings always tell us something about our body. There's a reason why we're having those cravings, right? But it was interesting to me that it is connected to this sense of weightlessness and this expansion of our energetic field. Dizziness and lightheadedness I was experiencing lightheadedness whenever I would stand, especially if I stood up too quickly. But again, and I would have moments where I would stand up, and I think Karen we've talked about this for her too, where you stand up and you feel really, really tall, like really, really tall. And that's that sensation of, and actually, at that point that is an integration of that expanded energetic field with your physical body. So you're actually experiencing the height, let's say, of your energetic field simultaneously with your physical body, and that can cause some lightheadedness and dizziness, so being aware of that too. But just looking for these signs to kind of round out the picture for you, so you're understanding where you are in this process, and so that you can take steps to integrate it and to help yourself be grounded. It's so important to be grounded with everything that is going on right now. In particular, there's so much, right? There's so much out there. There's so much out there that can instill a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of distraction. And if we're not grounded, man, can it influence us so much more. The influence is immense when we're not grounded, right? So it's very easy when we're not grounded to get into the headspace. That's when the fear takes over. And then it becomes really difficult to stop that spin, right? So if y'all, I'm going to pause here for a second, because if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. And I don't know if Karen had said she wasn't able to access the chat. If you can't access the chat, just text me. I've got my phone right here. I'll I'll throw the question in the chat for you. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so then learning how to ground without the structure of the 3D to anchor us into the physical. Goes back to recognizing the expansion of the energetic fields, the movement of the out-of-body chakras. So when you go into meditation, or whenever you tune into your chakras, and this was the thing I was talking about in the last video, when I went to ground in my Earth Star chakra, just like we do in our meditations, I was like, I don't necessarily, I talk about a certain location for it in the meditation because that's easier for everybody to visualize it together, right? But I have just a general feel for where mine is. And so I go to that feeling spot, and I went there, and mid-back pain. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of it too, Melissa, this is part of that evolution and that expansion, right? Your wings, like literally expanding. That's super cool. I was just, we're back to like the flying analogy too. I know you're not speaking in an analogy, but I was getting the sense of you like being able to take off very soon. So that's really cool. So when you go to feel into where your Earth Star chakra is, if you're not feeling like you're connecting to it, then allow yourself to be curious, and you can ask your guides for assistance to tell you where it is, to guide you to it, asking Mother Earth to show you where it is, and then just allowing yourself to feel into your own energetic field and get a sense for where your Earth Star chakra is. Melissa says losing interest in having a filter for public anything. Yes, it's very well, and the astrology is playing into that as well. Part of that, I think, is as we're ascending, we're in this removal of the layers of the masks, right? And which is necessary to ascend. We have to go through that. We have to go through the shadow work in order to do that and be integrated. And the with all of these planets moving into Aries, like Aries doesn't hold back. Aries doesn't hold back. So, it's certainly the astrology, the cosmic energies are supporting us in, Aries is the I am sign, right? So it's so supportive of us just speaking our truth and being like, that's it. Like this is how I feel and this is who I am, and I don't dim my light, I don't filter myself, I don't mask myself, I don't I don't shape shift to suit others and to make others comfortable. Yeah, it's an interesting part of this. Okay, so another part of this is recognizing that your expansion has you touching other energies previously unavailable to you. So, what does that mean? That means becoming more sensitive to other energies. I had, yeah, I mean, the way I'm feeling people that are really close to me is incredible, like incredible. Especially my son, like being able to sense what's going on with him and how he's feeling is wow. It's really amplified. So that's part of this process, though, as we are expanding. I mean, like I said, literally our energetic field is touching other energies that we didn't have access to before because we weren't on that plane, right? And they might not have been on that plane either. They might be going through the same thing we are. So, another reason to be grounded, because we're going to be bumping into things that we weren't bumping into before. We're going to be bumping into a lot of things in the collective that we might have been kind of brushing by before, but now we might be having full-on collisions. So it's really important to be very discerning to anyone who recognizes or feels that they're empathic, in particular, being really, really, really super discerning. And again, this is where the importance of being grounded comes from, because if we're not and we're bumping into these other energies, and again, especially with everything that's going on in the collective, there's so much fear there. It's going to be really, really important for us to be super discerning and recognize when we're feeling things that are not ours to hold, right? All right, I need a water break. Hang on before I start coughing. Let's see. So you are welcome. You are very welcome. Allowing ourselves to explore I kind of mentioned that, explore the new field that we're inhabiting, or the new energetic field. And then being open to utilizing the old tools that we've used, right? For grounding, for being discerning, for cleansing, for all those things, using them in new ways. We might find that going back to old practices helps us. We might find that they don't, or we might have to tweak them a little bit to fit this new energetic field that we are inhabiting. It may mean that you might have to take a little bit longer in meditation, especially as you're like exploring this field, learning where your Earth Star chakra is, learning where your Soul Star chakra is now, so that you're connecting in and not feeling kind of destabilized by this expansion. So giving yourself the space to be still and be centered, be really super present with yourself, and not judging yourself. I think all of us probably have pretty well established meditation practices. That doesn't mean, though, that we might run into a point in time. I've been working through this for the last couple months off and on, where it's very difficult for me to get into a meditative space, and that comes from being ungrounded. So just allowing yourself to approach those instances and not judge yourself is really the gist of it. Just don't judge yourself. Allow yourself to be new at it again, even if it's something that you've been doing for years. Because again, your energetic field has changed. Your frequency has changed. Your cells are literally changing. The frequencies that they're emitting are changing. This is shifting so many things going on way beyond our recognition. I mean, we talk about them here, but they have such a huge impact that I think we don't really, I don't know that we can really recognize it just yet. I think that we'll get to a point where we'll look back and we'll go, oh my gosh, look at how much this has changed. So in the midst of it, you don't really appreciate the depth of it necessarily. So allowing yourself to be curious and to be childlike in your approach, to be a beginner again, basically. Now this was something that was kind of new that came through as I was making my notes on what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I thought this was really cool. They said, you are your own gravitational field. And they said, this is only partially a metaphor. So this part I'm going to read to you guys because, as I said, it's new. They said, as we exit the anchoring effect of presence in the 3D, our physicality shifts. Not only are we increasing the frequency at which we operate, which separates us from resonance with the 3D, our cells are now also vibrating at a higher frequency, altering the relationship they have with gravity and also time, and how our physical bodies interact with gravity. The combination causes zero gravity effect on the energetic field. This effect can be very destabilizing and can leave us prone to illusion, lack discernment, dissociation from our human existence even. We do have heritage from the stars and we are human. This experiment called life is meant to be explored within our human physicality. Integrating the ascended frequencies into our physicality is ascension. This is new earth, not the removal or discarding of the value of this physical experience. So I thought that was really interesting. The part about how our relationship with gravity is changing on an actual physical level and not just a metaphoric level. So let's see. Turn my page. Got all kinds of stuff here. So how then do we recalibrate ourselves? So we've talked about how to recognize it, and some things to keep in mind as we're delving into that and being curious about where we are in this process. Before we go any further, do you guys have any questions about that? I do think I'm on a delay. I just can't figure out what the delay is. Okay, maybe no questions. No questions? Okay. All right. All right. No questions so far. Okay. Um, all right. So, how do we recalibrate then, right? What do we need to do to help us after we've felt our energetic field? Yes. Yes. Melissa says not questions, but confirmation as to why sometimes we feel heavier and other days or times we feel lighter with gravity and why our bodies hurt more sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's exactly what's going on with it and why that's occurring. It's a really interesting process, right? And can be very uncomfortable to be, I mean, honestly, let's be real. You know, nothing about Ascension. I mean, it's fun and it's fantastic and I wouldn't change it for anything. And it's hard, right? It's very challenging. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's what was going on over here too. Lots and lots of thunder and I heard some lightning and everything and then nothing happened. Yeah, there's lots of conversations going on up there. Lots of dragons too. Yes, Karen says yes, she's experiencing the same thing you are too, Melissa. So I've certainly noticed that. And I'm noticing too the feeling taller some days. I think it goes along with feeling lighter. Um, oh, Karen says she was having brilliant sun rain. That's super cool. Yeah, that's definitely the gods up there talking. Oh, that's really cool. Um, and other physical strangeness too, like some days for no other reason that I can really discern, but um, like puffiness some days and the joint pain too, and then it goes away the next day. And um, I've been having, I don't know if you guys are noticing like sacral chakra expansion too. I've had some lower back pain, and I think it's the sacral and root chakra um, doing doing some things and expanding as well. Probably clearing some through this process also. Um, okay, so let's see what else do we have here. So what things can we do to recalibrate? So some of those old tools that we've used, but things for us to explore anew and allow ourselves to do in different ways. Embodiment practices. That was the thing I was talking about that Diane had helped me with a lot last year. Different practices to get you in touch with your body and get your energy integrated into your physical body. And there's so much too, for many of us as women, um, around our perception of our body. So feeling safe in our body is a huge, huge, um, I hate to say issue, but it can be a huge issue for many of us to work on, to be aware of, and to explore as well ways that we can feel safe in our body, and then learning to trust our body again and forgive ourselves for any points in time when um, either we feel unprotected by our body or we felt as if we didn't protect our body ourselves. Um, I think that's a really important point to make because all of the things we've talked about really revolve around connecting into our physical body. And if we're going to have clear communication with it, we have to be able to trust it. So, doing things to help us feel safe in our physical body and to appreciate it just as it is. Those things are going to be really huge, and I think that falls into that embodiment practice too. Movement, 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 movement. Um, It can be more challenging. So if you're noticing if you do regular exercise and you notice that all of a sudden, let's say that you walk or you run, and all of a sudden, well, you can't go as far, or your pace isn't as fast as it was, or you're more sore, going a similar distance at a similar speed as you're used to doing. Being aware that you're, again, getting used to operating within this expanded energetic field, and that's going to have an impact. I feel like I'm getting to the point of repeating myself here, but it's going to have an impact on our physical bodies, but it's also going to, again, we're interacting with gravity differently because of the frequency that we're in and that we're moving through. And that impacts how our cells operate. We're redefining how we interact with that force. And so I think, a good analogy for that is running. And we know how it feels to run, right? At this point, we know what it feels like to run. But when gravity is different, you can imagine that if the gravity is heavier or stronger, then our legs are going to feel heavier, and we're going to have to work harder as if we were like running through water or something. But with lower gravity, we're going to feel lighter, but we might have to actually work harder as well to move forward instead of floating. So in both cases, it has a different impact on our physical bodies and our muscles. So being aware that you may have to make adjustments on whatever movement practices you do. The rain started. My team wants me to look into Tai Chi. Yeah, to help with movement of the energy and move the body. That would be a great one. Tai Chi and Qigong are really fantastic. So allowing yourself to, again, be the beginner if you need to, because you're relearning how to do things within this new energetic field. Breath work is a really good one that gets you into your body. It helps with stillness and focus as well. There have been lots of studies on breath work and how it helps to create a cohesive brain function, and helps to reduce anxiety and stress and all different kinds of things. It helps with your cardiovascular function, and there's so many benefits to it. That would be a big one to do, especially when you're working on grounding. Doing deep breathing can really assist with that. Stillness. I think that's going to be one of the toughest parts of this, honestly, is when we're having difficulty grounding. It's easy to be in like a hectic kind of energy. So being unfocused again. And so being in stillness with yourself when you're ungrounded can be really, really challenging. Again, this is something that we need to work on from this new point, right? Of expansion. Deep honesty with the self regarding our patterns and behaviors. This might be a tough one too, because my cat's racing back and forth. She's ridiculous. Okay. She always has to make an appearance some way. So old patterns can be resurfacing at this time of ungroundedness, right? This is another thing that can come up, because when we're ungrounded, again, we can get into the mental space really easily. And if we're ungrounded, then it's easier for us to fall back into these old patterns. And also, it's important to remember that as we're ascending and as we're elevating in our frequency, and as we are changing and transforming, on a whole, those past patterns and things there's a bit of connection with the shadow, and the shadow might want to kind of pull you back. Bye, Diane. Bye. The shadow might want to pull you back into those past patterns, because that's where the safety is, right? That's where the shadow identifies us as being safe, because that's what is known, right? So, being really aware of our behavior and being really, really deeply honest with ourselves about what the frequency that we're operating from. And it can also be things too, like coping strategies that we've used in the past that aren't necessarily healthy, because we're feeling ungrounded, and because the other part of this that was mentioned in the blog, but I haven't really touched on tonight, is it can happen really gradually, and so it feels like a subtle type thing that occurs and then gradually gets worse and worse and worse as we become more and more and more ungrounded. So coping mechanisms that we previously used to distract ourselves from being uncomfortable in our body, being uncomfortable in whatever a particular situation or experience was. Keep an eye out and be really honest with yourself when you notice that, if you happen to start using those again. It's not a matter of judgment. It's just a matter of observation, witnessing it, saying, okay, I see myself doing this. What is this telling me about what I need right now? And what can I do that's supportive of the new me and the me that I want to experience right now and going forward. So those are really important questions that we can ask ourselves. But being really honest about our own behavior is important all the time. But right now, as we're going through these big changes, I think that it's going to be easier for us to fall into old patterns, especially, again, because we've got multiple things going on here, right? We're bumping into frequencies and energies from the collective. There's all this stuff going on in the collective that's really challenging for everyone, right? There's so much uncertainty. There's a lot of fear energy out there. And now we're going through these physical changes individually as well. So, there's no judgment, and give yourself a lot of grace, because this is not easy work, but just to be aware of that. And yeah, being curious through the process and doing it again from a place of love, unconditional love for yourself, and without any fear or judgment. It's so important. Slowing down. Requires us to exhibit next level presence in ourselves. And the same with discernment, really allowing ourselves to be very, again, it goes back to being really honest with ourselves and being very in tune with our own intuition. And as all these things are happening simultaneously, that can be more challenging as well, because we are bumping into other energies that we may not have been exposed to previously. So I know this is kind of a lot, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up on this, and hopefully it helps. So what is the purpose of all this? Why are we going through this? Why is this happening? And when we know it's Ascension, right? But the underlying foundational part of this is our sovereignty. Because the real purpose of this is to create our own definition of gravity, to create our own experience of being tethered and anchored into Mother Earth, to create our own definition of the forces which connect us to Mother Earth and to our physical bodies. And then the removal of the reliance on external forces. That's a really big one. And part of the challenge of this process is that we're learning how to disconnect from those external sources, from the contrast that is arising through the challenge of this integration period. Right? It's through the contrast of bumping it up against those other energies that we learn the discernment and what to disconnect from and how to disconnect thoroughly and safely, is what I'm hearing, and from a place of love as well. Let's see what else. Oh, I was gonna go say something else about it. Yeah, this is a big leap forward, and it does impact how we interact with our physical world. It is change. I think this is a really jumping off point for our transition into New Earth, because as we're in New Earth, so many things are changing. I mean, we're already feeling into those frequencies and experiencing those frequencies, and there is a lot of it energetically, but the physical aspect of it, there's a lot of transition that has to happen and transformation that has to happen for us to be able to embody those frequencies and to actually exist in a lower density. So this is a very challenging part of it, but it's teaching us so much about where we're going. And part of that is that we're actually going to be, because of all of these changes on a physical level, we are actually going to be interacting with the physical realm in different ways. Again, what they said about being our own gravitational field and interacting with gravity differently, that's actually what we're going to be experiencing. We're not going to have an interaction or a relationship with gravity like we do now. So I feel like this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. This is our introductory period into these changes. That can be rather intense, but it's super interesting. And I think if we enter into it with a sense of curiosity and adventure, even, I think having an understanding of what the purpose of it is helps a lot, because then it goes beyond just like, well, we got this other challenge we got to do. Now what do we have to do for Ascension? Like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get there? But now we can understand and see what the purpose is. And for me, that makes it more exciting. Like, I can look forward and say, this is really freaking cool, because we're already experiencing this sense of zero gravity, and so of weightlessness. And to know that is going to be part of the experience in some way. I don't have 100% clear picture on how that happens, but in some form, when we're in New Earth, it's really pretty amazing. And this does tie into the weirdness we've experienced with time, because when you don't have gravity and we have all this expansion, and as our cells are changing and we're doing all these things with light within our cells and the photons and all of that, it changes. I mean, time is a construct that humanity created, and it is a construct, therefore, that we have the ability to manipulate. We created it, so we can manipulate it. And we're going through physical processes that are going to allow us to manipulate it in a greater degree than I think many of us considered possible. So that's really exciting. It's really exciting. I'm kind of working on some stuff with that behind the scenes. So hopefully I'm going to get some more information and can start sharing more about that with you guys. I wanted to have a better idea of exactly what's going on, but It's super interesting. So that was basically it. That was, do you guys have any questions or thoughts, comments, suggestions? I'm open to it. No questions? All right, well, if you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me. And I will, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to try and do this without like messing things up. Let's see. Hold on a second. Oh, look at that. I think I just did it. Woohoo. Oh, that's not the right thing. Oh, okay. Okay, so Karen sent me a question. I'm not sure I understand. Am I understanding that to seek fun of the lack of gravity is actually barrier? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, like to seek more of the lack of gravity? I honestly, I think if so many thoughts, yeah. I it depends. This might be splitting hairs, but it feels like it depends on the energy you're coming from in the seeking. So, and the motivation behind it. Oh, Karen likes float walking. I would say, I would say, it's allow it to unfold naturally, and allow it to unfold naturally, and then you won't have the resistance that might come along if you're in an energy of seeking. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, it would just really, it depends on where your energy is originating from in the seeking. I think if we attempt to make it happen, if that's what you're saying, that yeah, you're going to come up against resistance. So it might not, that may not be detrimental, except that how that, if it doesn't happen, how that impacts your energy and your perspective and everything on the back end of it, then that could take you to places energetically that you wouldn't go, and that then you will need to like do things to help you raise your, I don't really want to say raise your frequency, but get back to your balance point, get back to equilibrium, if that makes sense. Okay. Melissa, yeah, I should be able to in the next, not this weekend or next week, but the following weekend or week. Yeah, we can make that happen. We can do that. Absolutely. Oh, I got the link for, before I forget. Okay, so here is the link to submit your email for the PDF of this. If you guys are interested in that, you just send your email in, and I will, then I'll email it to you either later tonight or tomorrow. But I thought that might be helpful to have a little bit of a kind of a cheat sheet kind of thing to refer back to. And then you can also like make your own notes on it too, things that you wanted to recall potentially at a later time. Oh boy, we got another storm coming. So hopefully that was helpful. And do you guys like this type of sign up for your newsletter page on? Yeah, the link to sign up for the newsletter is no, I didn't get that, Karen. I didn't get that. That's interesting. I'll have to double check. I'm still learning my website. So, but I'll double check and make sure. Yeah, I didn't see that. Interesting. What was I going to say? Oh, what do you think of this type of format? Do you like the lives? I'm thinking about, I think I'm going to do more of these now that I've figured out how to work it. I still have some wrinkles to iron out, but this worked a lot better than last time. That's for sure. It actually worked. But do you guys like this type of format? I may consider doing like Zoom so we can see each other too, but this way I'm able to, it goes up on the YouTube channel and then it automatically, and then anyone who can't make the live can watch it later, you know? Offline. Yeah, I probably, I'm trying to stay off of social media except for posting stuff. And part of that is because of this whole process. It's a huge part of it. Because of the working on my discernment and, you know, my own experience of all this too. So, but Melissa, I'll check in with you like early next week and then we can make plans, okay? If that sounds good. Yeah, Karen, you'll have to figure out how to chat. I don't know, you might have to be subscribed to the channel in order to chat. So if you're not, then that might be why you can't chat. Or if you're not like signed in to the to YouTube, and that way you might not be able to chat. I think you have to be signed in to chat versus like just viewing. We are being hit by sun energy and earth energy is changing. Yeah, there's so much. And I think that's also part of why, Melissa, I think that we're being, that, you know, it's all interconnected. And so it's not a coincidence that we're going through this expansion and our Earth Star chakra is moving deeper within the earth when the earth is going through these radical changes. I do think that there's benefit for the earth in supporting her, just as we've done in some of those meditations. You know, there's benefit to the earth for us to be grounded even deeper into her and to, I'm getting the, you know, it allows for the reciprocity between our energies, so that we're able to support her literally more deeply than we were previously. Yeah, Karen, I bet it's because you're not signed in. And if you went straight from the link on the Facebook event, that's probably why, because it goes through Facebook instead of actually taking you all the way into YouTube. It's kind of a weird setup. But yeah, the changes with the sun and the earth energy. And we've got that, you know, that gamma ray burst that is that my guide said is coming this summer. So when was that? Like the end of July? I think that was the end of July that they said that was coming. I feel like July is going to be really important. I mean, who am I kidding though? Every month has been really important in 2025. But I do think that we're going to see some really big changes in July. And Lionsgate is going to be really interesting. Really interesting. So we'll talk more about that later on as we get a little bit closer to it. The thing is, things are changing so rapidly that it is I think that's why when I'm getting like dates for things, it's a whole lot closer now than it used to be, it's like real-time information, which is also why I'm here more often, because my guides are very clear that this stuff has to get to you guys pretty quickly in a timely manner, is what they say. Because it's needed, and as things are shifting so quickly, then the needs change as well. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. I think that the next meditation will be when will it be? Not this coming weekend. I thought about doing one for solstice, but I don't think I'm going to. If I do one, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to, but I will do one the following weekend. So, planetary formation. What do you mean by planetary formation? Do you mean like the alignment? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes, there. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Melissa. Not everything is as it appears out in the world, too. Yeah. And that's why one of the things that came through when we were talking about this, and I kind of skimmed over it, but illusion, that speaks back to the discernment. There's so much going on that is happening differently than it looks, just as you said. And happening for different reasons than, of course, than are being spoken about, which, I mean, we're kind of used to that at this point, right? That's not really anything unusual. However, just as, as more people are ascending, as more balance is attained and integrated by more people within the collective, then we're able to hold our light and our shadow equally and emit more light. It naturally, I mean, I'm trying to talk around it. Let's just get right to the point, Toby. The point is, all of the things that are associated with the matrix and with the 3D. Hard to say. That's what I was told to say. Oh, gotcha. Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure what that's referring to with the planetary formation. It's okay. It's all right. It'll come back around if it needs to. Yeah, I mean, there's so much dissolution of old structures, but they've been in place for so long, they're not going to go easily. It's not going to be a smooth process because they've been in place so long. And so I think it's important for those of us who are holding that frequencies, the higher frequencies, and are on deep in the ascension path, to that speaks back to being honest with ourselves too. We need to be honest about really what's going on out in the world and not get wrapped up in the old conversations and the old struggles and the old duality and the old battles of separation. It's, you know, it's important for us to be compassionate and to speak up. However, there is a fine line between there's a fine line sometimes between speaking up for the truth and speaking up for oh gosh, I don't want to, no, there's, how do I say this? There's a fine line between speaking the truth and revealing the illusion, and then getting caught up in those old battles and struggles and arguments that are based in separation and duality. So, because the point of this ascension path is for us to be balanced and for us to recognize that anything we see around us, we see it because it's within us. Everything we see around us is a reflection of something within us. And everything going on in the world is, there is no separation, truly. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's going to be more opportunities for us to actually witness this coming up. And a lot of the challenges and conflict that's happening right now, I think, is just kind of is part of that. I don't want to say the tip of the iceberg, because we have been experiencing this for a while, but it is certainly part of that. And it's going to be really important for us to be discerning so that we can determine what is illusion and what is not. Not easy. It's not an easy path to walk, that's for sure. So, I wish that you guys could talk on this. I mean, I understand why it's not set up that way, but it would be nice. And next time I'm going to set it up so there isn't so much of a delay, if I can figure out how to do that so we don't have anybody who's rewatching this. I apologize for the blank spots while I'm waiting for everybody who's here now to catch up and respond in the chat. All right. Well, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about, I will wrap this up. But I'm happy to stay on if you guys want to talk about some more stuff. Just let me know. Oh, Karen. Yeah. Being, yeah, being stressed out about that stuff. I bet a lot of it was being ungrounded. Yeah. Which is why, well, kind of two things. Certainly there was a lot of stress in that situation, but being ungrounded would amplify that stress, and that's why it was led to a lot of the extended stress and like the overflow into other parts of your life, and just beyond that day or even the next day. Yeah, absolutely. I bet so. Weeks. Oh man, it was that long. Yeah, that's absolutely the being ungrounded. Yeah, for sure. And then once you're, and then being stressed like to that degree and for that long and being ungrounded, then it makes it that much harder to get back to being grounded. Um, yeah, that's, that definitely, I think you're exactly right. That's exactly what was making it so difficult, is starting off ungrounded, and that speaks to, what we were saying, is that we're ungrounded and we don't even realize we're ungrounded, right? And then we get into these situations where we're challenged, or we're destabilized further, or we're put under pressure or stress, and it really amplifies the situation, because first we don't even realize that we're ungrounded, and then we're ungrounded because we don't know where grounding is anymore, because our baseline is moved. And then when we try to ground when we're already in that stress situation, it becomes even harder. So that's a great, actually, a very great, not great for you, because I know it was a really difficult experience, but a great example of why, you know, I think why it would be helpful, hopefully, for people to get the information ahead of time, and just to have that awareness ahead of time, because it sneaks up on you. It really does. It really does. And that's the gradual process of our expansion. It's kind of like, I use my son as an example. He's grown so much in the last year, but for me, because I'm around him all the time, I don't notice it. I mean, I do notice it, but I don't notice it like somebody who hasn't seen him in like 3 months. So we're inside this expanding energetic field, and so we're having like micro doses of trying to recalibrate to it, and so yeah, it really does sneak up on us when we're ungrounded. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions, or you want to talk about anything else. I'll wait just a second for it to catch up. I definitely do need to figure out how to minimize the delay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. The OGs. Thank you for being here. It means so much to me. So much better to talk to y'all than empty space. That's for sure. I appreciate you guys supporting me and being here. I really do. Oh, Karen's got another question. All right. Regarding what you were saying about our sovereignty and not depending on external sources, that's happening. So not depending on other external, what's happening. So as people are here, has anybody telepathy gotten stronger? I keep getting reminded. I don't need to ask them. Yeah. Okay. So Karen, oh, Melissa, hang on just a second. Yeah. Um, okay, hang on. Let's do Karen's question real quick before I lose my train of thought. She says, regarding what you were saying about sovereignty and not depending on other external sources, she said, I keep getting reminded I don't need to ask other people. Yeah, that's absolutely part of it. Absolutely part of it. This is about, yep, this is absolutely a part of building your sovereignty. It's learning to trust yourself. And you're doing that because you're following those nudges, whether soft or hard, to go inwards versus looking to someone else for an answer. Especially with things that it's interesting that it's about your physical body. And so it feels very connected to the reminders that it's so important for us to build that relationship with our physical body. And you can't outsource that, you know? So I do think that's absolutely connected to what you're experiencing. Absolutely. Okay, Melissa, telepathy. I don't, well, you're hearing people talking in other rooms lately. I have noticed that too. I am like hearing soft voices, just enough to get my attention, but not enough for me to, it's not like Charlie Brown's teacher. It's not like wah, 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 wah. It's not like that, but it's, it's like whispers almost. I have heard that over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I didn't think about it being telepathy, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't think about it that way. I wasn't, I think I was feeling it more in like a mediumship type of way. But I didn't get the other cues that I usually get when it's a mediumship experience. So I think it probably is a telepathic experience. And that makes sense. I mean, this goes back to bumping into the other energies, right? And because our energetic field is expanding, there's going to be overlap too with potentially other fields. And I think that where we get these slight overlap is where that telepathy is. Ooh, that's interesting. That's where the telepathy is, like, that's the connection point. But this brings up a really interesting point that they just showed me that has always kind of bugged me, to be honest, about telepathy. How do you do it intentionally, right? And also honor another person's privacy. And to make sure one's own privacy and energetic field is not intruded upon, right? But what they just showed me was if there's, it's almost like a Venn diagram, right? Like you see the circles that overlap. So if you picture your energetic field that way, that you can, once you learn where your energetic field is, that you can intentionally like overlap it to communicate that way. But I think there is, that's interesting. I think that there has to be some mutual receptivity there, is what I'm getting, for it to be effective. And that could be why it's, yeah. Yeah, because I bet that her energetic field is reaching out to you, whether consciously, maybe, you know, it could be consciously that she's doing that. I don't mean she's consciously saying, I want my energetic field to reach out to you. I'm saying that she's thinking about you and has some intention behind that. But I think that your openness to is why you're able to receive it. I think why it's and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about like the energy, the empathic sensations and experiences I've had with my son recently is crazy. Like really strong, really, really strong. It took me a good minute to figure out it wasn't me. It was that intense. But I think why we're hearing like the, no, I think telepathy is right. I think you're right on with it. I think why we're hearing like the whispers is because the connection isn't fully there, right? I think that there has to be some sort of like, I feel like there has to be some sort of mutual agreement is the best way to put it, for it to really be clear. Because without that, then we could run into some trouble without that. I don't mean me and you, but I mean generally speaking. Telepathy is something that is going to be available to all of us. And I don't see anything intrusive being in resonance with the frequencies that are going to allow all of us to be in that place of having access to telepathy, right? I mean, there are people now that can do it for sure. And not all of them are doing it with good intentions. But when we're when we're in New Earth, right? I don't think that those type of intentions are not going to be resonant with that experience. So I do think it's going to be a something that requires like mutual agreement for that overlap to be successful. Does that make sense? That was a long ramble on telepathy, but that was really interesting. That was cool. Like, that's a neat representation with the Venn diagram. Why now? You mean as far as why we're able to do that now? What? I'm going to put it in the chat. Oh my gosh, I can't type and do this at the same time. Oh, my nose itches. Yeah, I think it's just a natural part of this expansion that's going on. I think another important thing to note, right, it's a bit much. And that's what I was just going to say. I think an important thing to note is that you can, this is your experience. So you can say to your people, tone it down. Tone it down. Like, I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but I'm saying I need a bit of a break. I'm overwhelmed and I need that to slow down a little bit. I need some breathing room from there, and I need to, and maybe too, since we were just talking about that overlap that creates the connection that allows for the telepathy, maybe putting the intention around your energetic field that there's no overlap, right? Don't, that any sort of doorway, I don't want to say doorway, I don't really know how to describe this, but any sort of movement that allowed the overlap, that is, trying to think of the best way to word this, but some sort of intention that states that you're not participating in that right now. And just because you do that doesn't mean that you're never going to go back to it. But I think it's important for you to approach it from an empowered state of, this is my experience and I am still human and I do need to be able to function during my days as much as I, it might vary for each of us what we need to do, but still, if it gets overwhelming, it's absolutely in your power to say, hey, can we tone it down a little bit? There's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't mean that you're like rejecting the gift or anything. It just, I think that's a very empowering place to come from in the experience and with these gifts, because they can be really overwhelming for sure. For sure. And if you're even one of the things I was going to talk about here and I didn't, and I just remembered, it goes back to using the old tools, salt baths. Like, I've gone back to doing the salt scrub in the shower, and that helps a lot, and that really helps me to ground, especially when I rub it on the bottom of my feet. That really helps me a lot. But doing simple things like, the things we did back in the beginning, calling your energy back. Those things are really important right now. The dragons are, I was about to say the dragons are on fire. I didn't mean that literally. The dragons are very active, very active. That's super cool. It's super, super cool. Yeah. I think we're going to continue to see more activity from our dragons, for sure. For sure. Oh, more storms. Speaking of storms. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I like your acronym. That's funny. Karen, anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? All right. Well, you guys keep an eye out for the meditation. I'll put that announcement out probably this weekend. We'll do that the weekend of, what's the date? 28th, 29th. We'll do it that weekend. Oh. Karen Karen said no, she doesn't have any questions, but as soon as we disconnect, I'll think of about 5 things. No problem. No problem. Y'all know how to reach me if you have questions. And yeah, keep an eye out for the meditation. Local peeps, local peeps. I appreciate you guys so much. It's fun to be here with you. And oh, Melissa, that's awesome. I love that. God, universe, and spirit is now Gus. That's fantastic. I love that. That's very cool. All right. I was trying to think. It seems like there was something else I was going to say. I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, I'm just looking at my notes again. Make sure I didn't miss anything before we wrap up. I think that's it. I think that's it. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to doing this again. We will, I'm sure we'll have another interesting topic. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you being here. And I'll be back soon. Be back very, very soon. Thank you again. Love you guys. Now I have to figure out how to hang up. All right. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you, guys. Let me put this in the chat. All right. You guys have a good night. Love to you all. See you soon.